Hi, this is Alan Nassifany back from the University of Idaho.
Jim May from the University of Idaho.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about a priori research today. And a priori is a term that's typically found in the description of the research methods, if it's used at all. And it just means that you're doing something in advance, usually that you're determining an idea in advance of starting. And in the DAT, we use that in that manner, but a little bit differently, and we kind of use that as the focus of a lot of our research.
Yeah, when we see action research and an applied research from an individual's clinical practice, we want that individual to start off with insight and know what the problem is and know what the purpose is as they go into their specific clinical research that they desire.
Yeah, and so in a typical like laboratory research project, you have the ability to control everything that is, reasonably within your control. And in clinical practice, that varies a little bit. Let's say you're working with a sports team and you're an athletic trainer in that setting, and they're traveling for 2 days, and you want to do your thing every other day, and then you were able to collect data in your patient care, but some of those days they were traveling for a 3 or 4 day window. Well, obviously you can't control for that, which we would like to, and it makes it harder to say certain things about your research. But without that, without being flexible in those ways, you wouldn't be able to get clinical research done in your practice.
And typically, when we looked at case studies or case series, oftentimes in the athletic training literature and kind of the sports medicine realm, it would be very novel and unusual circumstances that would be designed retroactively for a case study, for example. Commonly, it would be a very unusual, some type of heart issue or pneumothorax.
A spontaneous pneumothorax in an otherwise healthy individual.
So, and that was deemed like important to share, so other people would be exposed to that and kind of know what to look out for and maybe handle certain cases with a little hindsight. So, but what we're asking from a priori.
And I think the challenge with those was that they weren't designed at all, right? And so the data was spotty, and things that were actually within their control, if they knew that was going to happen, they would have measured things beforehand and done all of that. And so in our little slice of the pie, when we're doing the a priori studies in our clinical practice, we're basically trying to control all of the variables that we are able to control, and really be thoughtful about that beforehand. Mm-hmm. And then on the end of that, there's going to be some things that come up that you just can't control for, and it doesn't make it unpublishable. It just makes it,
authentic.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the internal validity better because it's talking about what we want to talk about, right? And what's important to our practice. It's real life.
It's a local problem that we're working to research.
And so I think if we're taking a summary of what we are talking about when we talk about a priori research, we're really meaning that it's clinical, it's clinic-based research, or that type of research that's in vivo, it's in real life, and it's also the methods and the research process is really considered thoroughly before you begin it. So if we combine those two, now we start to talk a little bit about action research, and that'll be a topic for another video.
What's important there is, right, so when we have a plan on the front end, then we can carefully navigate and ensure that we can find what's meaningful from a clinical lens. And that's ultimately what we're trying to discover.
And when we have the ability to do the research in this manner, in an a priori manner, for example, we don't get caught with, we only took these 3 outcomes, but nobody else has done that before. And so now we have all outcomes that we don't know how to interpret because nobody else has done that before. And the ways that other people have studied it, we don't have because we didn't look. And so when we do an a priori research study, generally what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we have some combination of what people have measured before, so that we can always go back to the literature and compare if there's something useful to compare against. And then also what is going to give us more meaning on our individual end. And so some combination of those two. And you can really only do that well in clinical practice with a prospective or a priori study. So I think that's probably good for the first level of that, and then we can talk about more if we have questions that arise. Thank you.